Hello everyone and welcome to the DCS Warbirds update for December 2019. This is the last one for the month obviously, but it turned out to have been quite a busy one. So we're going to start with possibly the most important of the updates that came out during the month rather than doing things chronologically. And as you can probably tell from what's happening on the visuals here in the background, we're going to discuss the updates to the Normandy map. The map has received a pretty major update, which brings it up to the standard of all the other DCS maps and gets rid of many of the gripes and problems that existed previously. I'm not going to go through in full detail and discuss everything that's been changed because we do have a relatively comprehensive changelog, so I'll spin the text on the screen whilst I'm talking. What I would like to do is just focus on one or two of the most significant changes, and we'll just show some of those and talk a little bit about how this map plays as a result. A large number of the textures and assets on the map have been given a visual overhaul, and some of the airfields and villages have been rearranged. This has vastly improved the overall visual quality of the Normandy map. In addition, Speed Tree has now been implemented. So all of the trees and forests have been updated now to use Speed Tree. This makes everything look significantly better. It changes the whole color palette of the map because now, particularly from low angle flying, you get so much more vegetation. I also noticed up close that they have introduced a sort of bush / hedge type of vegetation. And when these are placed together closely in a line, it looks from the air very much like a hedgerow. So now the bocage region of the map actually does look a lot more like the bocage. A number of artillery batteries and gun positions have been added to the map. These are scattered about in historically correct locations. And in addition to that, there are now a number of new airfields which have been added to the south of the map. This vastly improves the gameplay options for the Normandy map. We also now have our first grass airfields on the map, which is really nice to see. And I've noticed that all of the airfields now are landable and takeoffable along the grass sections. Previously, some airfields were and some airfields were not, but now it seems like we can happily land and take off from pretty much any grass field on the map. A final noteworthy mention is that there have been some general bug fixing and performance optimizations. I've noticed an increase in performance with the map now, and I know quite a few others have as well. One or two people have reported some problems and that they've had to reduce their graphics settings as a result, but that seems to have been very rare indeed. Overall, I am very, very happy with the Normandy map now. There are still a few things which could be fixed and updated, but this really is now at about the quality level it should have been when it was released. The other big update news we had in December was the showcase of the F4U Corsair flying in DCS publicly for the first time, and this was put together by Magnitude 3, the developer of that model, and the Virtual Festival of Aerobatics. I managed to get a cut down edited version of the showcase, which I put some of my own comments on, and that video generated a lot of interest from the wider community, and I think there will be a pretty solid customer base for that aircraft when it is finally released. In addition, obviously, to the F4U content, there were a couple of other little extra bits from Magnitude 3 over the month. One was a very sneaky screenshot of the schematics for an A6M0. Now, this aircraft will apparently be built by Magnitude 3 once the F4 is out, and Hiramachi from Magnitude 3 has confirmed the particular variant of the A6M which is being worked on. Now, I know that people have a lot of different thoughts about what the most appropriate Japanese fighter will be to face off against the Corsair, but I think the decision to pursue the Zero has largely, or at least in part, been made based on available documentation, and in the end, it is up to the developer to decide which aircraft they think they can build to the DCS standards. In the Christmas newsletter from Magnitude 3, we saw some of the cockpit interior workings and a beautiful image of the canopy modelling that Magnitude 3 are putting together. It really does look, from the text they've provided in their Christmas update, that they are really going into high levels of detail with the Corsair, right down to the mechanisms for opening and closing the canopy itself. One of the other little treats they gave us was some more renderings of some more 3D modelling of the Essex class carrier. A little note I got from Hiramachi suggested that they were going to try and see if they could crash DCS servers with the number of AA guns which are planted all over the ship. We don't have any kind of official release dates for the Corsair or the Essex class carrier. Based on what I can see of progress now, it looks like much of the 3D model is still being built, so I would push expectations back to about May, June 2020 or after that. We'll move on to update another topic which I tend to cover in just about every update video, and that is to look for any information we can find about the damage model development. 9line did post up in mid-December that we could probably expect something by Q1 of 2020, so that is the January through to March period. This opinion was backed up also by Nick Gray, and Nick was present for one of my live streams here on the channel during December, and in the chat during the live stream, Nick confirmed an early 2020 for the damage model. So we are really not far away from that now. We've had the Normandy update, and with the damage model update just around the corner, things are looking pretty bright. To the hotly anticipated World War II assets pack now, and 9line in the last newsletter of the year has suggested that they are working on one of the final items in this assets pack, and that is torpedoes. His update came along with a couple of screenshots of a German Schnellboot firing a torpedo, and it sounds like torpedo functionality is going to bring a whole lot of new gameplay options to DCS, not only for World War II, but for post-World War II maritime and maritime aviation operations. The torpedoes are going to be apparently added to the Ju-88 AI as well, and to a German U-boat. So this means that we'll be able to have a bit more maritime warfare going on, particularly with AI strikes against vessels. A full list of the currently projected assets to be added to the pack was produced. I must admit that I'm a little surprised at how short this list is. And I'm also a little bit concerned that we still have no sign of any low caliber Allied anti-aircraft guns. The Germans have about 6 or 7 anti-aircraft guns in the World War II assets pack, and the Allies currently only have the Bofors gun, which also is not working so great. So if Aerodynamics could do anything to just beef up that assets pack a little bit more, I would suggest one low caliber and one high caliber Allied anti-aircraft gun to sit alongside the very large suite of German guns would make a bit of sense. That concludes then the DCS Warbirds update for December 2019. Have a happy new year everyone, and we'll see you in 2020. As usual, happy hunting.